The whale carcass provided a unique survival chamber, insulating the survivor from the elements. This biological shelter offered protection from falling ash and toxic gases released by the eruption. The thick blubber layer acted as natural insulation against temperature extremes. Similar survival mechanisms have been documented in other extreme environments, though rarely in such unusual circumstances. The confined space limited oxygen consumption, potentially extending survival time. Rescue operations in volcanic zones face unique challenges, including poor visibility and unstable terrain. Documented cases of unusual survival shelters demonstrate human adaptability in crisis situations. The discovery highlights how standard search patterns might miss unconventional survival scenarios. The eruption was one of the most powerful in recorded history, ejecting cubic kilometers of material into the atmosphere. This immense force generated tsunamis that radiated across entire ocean basins, traveling at speeds comparable to jet aircraft. Regions downwind were plunged into darkness as the ash cloud blotted out the sun, creating a prolonged artificial night. For coastal populations, the immediate threats were multiple and simultaneous. The tsunami's inundation, falling volcanic debris, and toxic gases. Pyroclastic flows, superheated avalanches of gas, ash, and rock, could travel at hundreds of kilometers per hour, incinerating everything in their path. Survival depended on finding immediate high ground or substantial shelter to escape both the water and the volcanic projectiles. The volcanic winter effect that followed such eruptions could disrupt global climate patterns for years, impacting agriculture worldwide. This event demonstrates the compound catastrophe model, where a primary disaster triggers multiple secondary crises with little warning. Volcanic eruptions near coastlines generate multiple destructive forces simultaneously. Pyroclastic flows, superheated gas and rock, can travel at hundreds of kilometers per hour across water. These flows create shockwaves that displace massive volumes of water, triggering tsunamis. The combination presents a nearly unsurvivable scenario for nearby vessels. Survival would require being in a specific position relative to the eruption's direction. Historical maritime disasters near volcanoes show similar patterns of destruction. The vessel's construction materials would determine its resistance to extreme heat and impact. This scenario represents one of the most extreme maritime survival challenges documented. The man was thrown into the turbulent, ash-choked sea, a situation documented in several maritime survival cases. He encountered the floating body of a dead sperm whale, which can remain buoyant for weeks due to decompositional gases. In a desperate bid for survival, he used an available tool to cut into the whale's thick blubber layer. The blubber, which can be over 12 inches thick on adult sperm whales, provides insulation and energy storage. He accessed the body cavity, which in large whales contains substantial empty space after decomposition. This created an improvised shelter, similar to how some survival situations repurpose available materials. The whale's body provided temporary protection from the elements and potential predators. Such extreme survival measures demonstrate human adaptability in life-threatening maritime environments. The survival period lasted several days, with the individual remaining inside the whale carcass. The thick blubber layer acted as natural insulation, protecting against hypothermia from the frigid water. This biological insulation mechanism is similar to how marine mammals survive in cold environments. The body cavity created a crucial air pocket, providing both oxygen and protection from the elements. Such air pockets can form naturally in decomposing large animal remains as gases accumulate. The combination of insulation and air pocket created a temporary survival microenvironment. This situation demonstrates how extreme survival scenarios can utilize unexpected natural resources. The duration of several days represents a critical window where rescue or escape becomes possible. The survivor was eventually spotted by a passing whaling vessel. His recovery involved the standard maritime rescue procedures of the era. The ship's crew documented his physical condition and initial account. This process mirrors other documented survival cases, where ship logs provided the first official record. The recorded account was later entered into the broader literature on human survival. Such documentation is crucial for verifying extreme survival events and studying human endurance. When analyzing sensational stories, it's crucial to separate verified facts from understandable exaggerations that often emerge. For this particular account, we do not know the precise timeline of events or the exact physical state of the individual upon rescue beyond the basic account. This lack of specific detail is common in early reports of dramatic survival stories, where initial information is often fragmented. A common misconception that has circulated is the claim that the survivor ate a whale to stay alive. This specific detail is not supported by the verified record and appears to be an example of narrative embellishment. Such embellishments are a frequent pattern, where extraordinary survival tales naturally attract hyperbolic details over time. The core verified fact remains a basic account of survival under extreme duress. Focusing on this foundation, rather than unsupported claims, is essential for understanding the real event. The body provided temporary shelter from the elements, but it was far from a safe refuge. Consuming raw, decomposing blubber in that environment would have been extremely hazardous. Such consumption risked severe bacterial infections or food poisoning, which could be debilitating or fatal. His primary challenge was exposure to the harsh environment, not immediate starvation. Hypothermia and frostbite pose a more immediate threat than hunger in extreme cold. This was not a planned or comfortable act of survival. It represents a desperate measure taken when all conventional options have failed. In survival scenarios, actions are dictated by necessity, not choice. The decision to enter the carcass was made under extreme duress, representing a final option when all others had failed. This environment would have been completely dark, filled with the smell of decomposition and residual oils. Decomposition processes would have been rapidly advancing, creating hazardous biological conditions inside. Such scenarios force individuals into a state of pure survival calculation, weighing immediate threats against potential refuge. The choice highlights a brutal form of adaptive thinking, where standard human aversion is overridden by necessity. This incident serves as a case study in extreme decision-making under catastrophic circumstances. It demonstrates how environmental devastation can compress the timeline for life or death choices into mere moments. The core lesson is about the psychological and physical mechanisms activated when survival becomes the singular priority. In survival scenarios, shelter is the first priority, protecting against environmental threats like extreme temperatures or falling debris. This principle applies universally, whether facing natural disasters, industrial accidents, or other immediate danger. The survivor in this case identified an unconventional structure that provided essential protection. Such shelters can include repurposed vehicles, abandoned buildings, or natural formations that offer stability. The key factor is structural integrity, the ability to withstand environmental pressures without collapsing. This decision demonstrates how crisis situations require pragmatic assessment over conventional thinking. Survival experts emphasize that improvisation with available resources often determines outcomes in emergencies. The shelter provided critical protection from specific environmental threats mentioned in the account. In survival scenarios, resourcefulness often means reinterpreting what's immediately available. This principle applies directly to fraud investigations, where seemingly irrelevant details can become critical evidence. The whale carcass example illustrates this. A massive, decaying object typically associated with death and waste. Yet for stranded individuals, it transformed into shelter, a source of usable materials, and even potential nourishment. Similarly, in complex scams, investigators must look past the surface presentation to see the underlying mechanisms. A fraudulent scheme's public facade, its glossy marketing or trusted figurehead, is the carcass. The real evidence lies in the overlooked details, irregular transaction patterns, contradictory internal memos, or logistical inconsistencies. This cognitive shift, from seeing only the whole to analyzing the usable parts, is a fundamental investigative skill. Documented survival cases reveal that human endurance can overcome extreme conditions through specific psychological and physiological mechanisms. This capacity involves both mental resilience and the body's ability to adapt to severe deprivation. Survivors often employ cognitive strategies, like focusing on small goals or maintaining hope to preserve willpower. Physiologically, the human body can enter conservation states, reducing metabolic demands to extend survival time. Comparisons between different survival scenarios show common patterns in how people overcome seemingly impossible odds. These documented cases provide concrete evidence of human resilience when facing life-threatening situations. This survival account demonstrates the physiological limits humans can endure when pushed to extremes. The documented events reveal how resourcefulness becomes critical when conventional survival methods fail. Similar survival patterns emerge across different documented cases, showing consistent human responses to extreme deprivation. The mechanisms of survival often involve prioritizing core bodily functions over secondary needs. Recorded accounts show how mental resilience can determine survival outcomes as much as physical endurance. These documented cases provide valuable data on human physiological adaptation to extreme environments. The survival duration in these accounts often exceeds what standard medical models would predict as possible. Documented evidence shows how humans can maintain cognitive function despite severe physical deterioration.